Hi guys, my name is Caitlin, and today I'm going to be talking about the new adult novel. Is it a crossover novel, or is it its own separate genre? We'll look at several key factors, including the crossover novel and how new adult came about. Then we'll discuss new adult and some of its tropes and compare them to YA. And finally, we'll discuss what publishers look for in new adult novels and look at some of the popular titles sitting on the shelves today. Okay, so topic number 1, the crossover novel. We've already talked in class about how YA was sort of this death sentence. Michael Cart, in his book Young Adult Literature, gave us several key examples about how authors dreaded having their books marketed as a young adult novel. In 1992, Sally Lodge wrote in a Publishers Weekly article that adults seem to shun the idea of reading a novel published as a young adult book. One of the key barriers appears to be the adult's lack of interest in reading about a young protagonist. But in the late 90s, publishers began experimenting with marketing some popular YA titles as both young adult and adult. In 1996, Random House, one of the major publishing companies, gave Philip Pullman's The Golden Compass a $250,000 marketing budget and published it under both their children's imprint, Knopf, and their adult science fiction imprint, Del Rey. Random House also sent 1,000 advanced reader copies, also known as ARCs, to booksellers with a note that said, "Dear bookseller, be a kid again." The Golden Compass was really a turning point for crossover fiction. In 2002, Mark Haddon's book The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime was published as a children's book in the UK, but when it was brought to the US, it was only marketed as an adult title. However, it was so popular with YA readers that it was immediately reissued as a young adult title. Topic number 2, the publishing problem. With books being published in both the young adult and adult genres, there seemed to be this sort of disconnect about who books were being published and marketed to and who was actually reading them. In 2012, a study found that 55% of YA books were being bought and read by readers over the age of 18. That meant that over half of young adult books were being read not by their intended audience, but by adults in their early to mid-20s. Furthermore, while adult book sales were down overall, YA book sales rose by 22% in 2014. Publishers who saw this gap in their numbers realized that things needed to change, and they tried several options. First, they tried extending their demographic markers. Where YA had only previously encompassed 12 to 18-year-olds, publishers now extended the age limit to 25. These changes came as publishers started to realize that their readership was not being serviced by already published titles as they'd originally thought. According to Margot Lipschultz, the senior editor of Harlequin, the traditional wisdom was that books about college-aged characters were too old for the YA shelves in bookstores and too young for general fiction or romance shelves. Second, they created subgenres within YA to help booksellers shelve books. Books geared to 12 to 14-year-olds now have their own special middle grade or middle school shelf, usually located in the children's section. Books written for 14 to 18-year-olds have their own teen shelf in the fiction section, and anything above 18 is usually just labeled young adult. However, since both middle grade and teen are subgenres of young adult, this didn't fix the problem at all. So publishers and booksellers scrambled to find a way to fill the gap left between in the 18 to 25-year-old market. According to Publishers Weekly, as early as 2008, independent booksellers experimented by adding sections of books that appealed to adult lessons. It wasn't until 2009 that the term new adult appeared, when a book blogger named Georgia McBride teamed up with St. Martin's Press for a contest to solicit manuscripts that were cutting-edge fiction with protagonists who are slightly older than YA. Fiction similar to YA that can be published and marketed as adult, a sort of older YA or new adult. But even after the success of McBride's contest, the big 6 publishing houses in New York were wary of losing money by splitting up YA into 2 separate categories. It wasn't until the huge success of self-published new adult ebooks on Amazon that traditional publishing really began to change and new adult imprints began to form. Topic number 3, the new adult novel. If YA books are about surviving adolescence and coming of age, Cora Carmack, best-selling new adult author, wrote in 2012, then new adult is about how to live your life after that. New adult is the "I'm officially an adult, now what" phase. New adult is a series of firsts. First job, first car, first love, first drunk college experience. And like their protagonists, many new adult books are written by authors in the same stage of their life, experiencing their firsts with their readers. Like YA, new adult has its own set of guidelines to distinguish it from other genres. They must focus on characters ranging from age 18 to 24 and deal with issues that affect college-aged adults, like leaving home for the first time and falling in love. Also like YA, new adult novels should have a voice and high-intensity drama. However, since new adult is geared towards older adults, manuscripts are encouraged to have a little bit more sensuality and sexuality. But Angela James, the editorial director for Carina Publishing, makes it clear it isn't just sexed-up YA. And unlike adult novels, which often deal with relationship questions about the future like marriage and babies, new adult tends to only focus on pre- and new relationships. While some publishers are only looking for sexy romance new adult titles to publish, others like Embrace, Entangled's new adult imprint, accept new adult books that fall under any genre, including sci-fi, fantasy, horror, dystopian, historical, and LGBT. On their submissions page, they specify that most importantly, they are looking for books pulled from the point of view of emerging adults, defining a critical period of decision-making and growth. But while new adult books are selling, publishers and booksellers are still having difficulty figuring out how to market them. Big booksellers still don't have a section labeled New Adult, and right now, most new adult titles are only available in an ebook format. However, publishers are taking advantage of the millennials' connection to digital technology to drive their ebook sales. Surprisingly, although new adult is primarily intended for audiences of the same age group, publishers have also started to market it anywhere from 14 to 35. However, marketing strategies for both YA and new adult remain mostly the same. Publishers approach both as crossover novels and tend to use marketing campaigns that reach a variety of age groups. YA campaigns tend to run longer than new adult campaigns, and the release dates within series tend to be spread further apart. Nevertheless, both use digital platforms and ads on social media to market their books. Publishers also send out advanced reader copies to book blogs so that bloggers can read them before release and give their first impressions, either through a blog post or a video, like this one. YouTube, or BookTube as it's called in the book blogging community, houses thousands of book bloggers between the ages of 14 and 30 who read and review both YA and new adult titles and discuss them with their viewers. In fact, BookTube is so popular that the most successful book bloggers have been featured in magazines like Seventeen and Teen Vogue. New adult has grown exponentially in the last 2 years. On Goodreads, the tag went from 0 to 14,000 titles. Many new adult book titles have sold over 200,000 copies, even as self-published titles. Since 2013, several of the most popular YA books were also classified as new adult. These titles include Just One More Day by Gail Forman, Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So what does it all mean? Publishing houses are notorious for seeking any avenue they think will bring money, especially when it comes to the ebook market. And really, even though new adult has some differences between classic YA, middle grade also has some differences from teen. A 12-year-old's experience in a book isn't going to be the same as a 16-year-old's, and neither of them is going to be the same as an 18 or 22-year-old's. However, all these age ranges still fall under the YA category. And while new adult does tackle issues that are more suitable for older readers, like college, sex, and drugs, most of those topics are also covered in other YA books, like Rape in All the Rage and Drugs in Go Ask Alice. Furthermore, while the content may be different, overall, new adult books are still coming-of-age books dealing with identity and perception, which are primary tropes in YA. Additionally, while a book may have a character that's 22, that doesn't mean that the reader necessarily has to be 22 to read it. Each reader should understand their own maturity level and what they are capable of reading and understanding. Personally, I don't think that new adult is its own genre, but rather a subgenre created by the widening in YA demographics to encompass 18 to 25-year-olds. It's also from our generation's experiences in the recession and the hardships we faced back in the early 2000s, where we're all starting to come of age a little bit slower. But like the millennials, YA is growing. Our generation has a huge impact on the world around us, and this impact is already becoming evident. When the millennials reach their 30s and 40s, who knows what will happen? Maybe we'll start to change adult literature as well. And that's all that there is. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you very much. Goodbye!